Joan's house again. And she says, oh, we just need to light the candle and we need to do this, but you need to keep an open mind. And then weird stuff starts to happen, and this scene is like very tense because you're waiting for that something to happen. And Annie seems like someone had like brushed up against her because she turns really quick.
She goes, I think she's looking to the side. She's like, she did feel someone by her.
Yeah.
And then what happens after? That's when the cup moves, right?
Yeah, they're holding the
Tommy,
cup, and she's talking to.
It's her son, right?
It's her grandson. I forget what the grandson's name is. I want to say Timmy.
Timmy? I think it was Timmy.
Could be wrong, but it might be that.
But she tells him to move. She says, move the cup if you're here. Move the cup just a little bit, and then the cup moves, and that's when
and then Annie
freaks out.
Kind of freaks out.
Yeah.
And then they bust out the chalkboard, right?
Yeah. She says, hey,
she's like, Grandma got this for you.
Yeah.
This is for you. She's like, he loved doing his chalk.
Yeah. And then you see the chalk start moving and writing out a message to Joan that says, I love you, Grandma.
And it's spelled wrong, like a little kid would write.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
Yeah. And like Annie, obviously very, very freaked out by this point.
And her hair,
her hair
flips.
I hit my headphones.
her hair flips, and then she loses her shit.
Yeah, and she really freaks out at that point. And
she gets up. She's like, "Stop!
I need to stop."
Yeah.
And Joan stops, blows out the candle, says, "Hey, we'll be right back." Tells the spirit, we'll be right back, or whatever. And then
she said, "We're gonna take a break."
Talks to Annie and says, hey, I know what you're feeling, I understand.
She's like, I felt like that too.
Yeah. But if you want to speak with your daughter, you need to light a candle, you need to say these words, and everyone needs to be in the house. But it's really weird, and I saw this pointed out elsewhere, and I paid attention to it last night when I watched it. There's a little bit of ADR there, because it looks like her lips say room, but then she says house. So I wonder if that got changed somewhere. I looked to see if that was true. I saw that on I think Red Letter Media's review of the movie.
Okay.
They had mentioned that, and then I looked for it last night when I watched the movie again. And yeah, sure enough. She says it, but says, you need to say these words, and everyone needs to be in the house when you do that. So Annie goes home, and she goes to bed, and then she has these really horrible nightmares.
Yeah, that nightmare was fucking creepy.
Yeah, where she wakes up and sees the ants.
Yeah.
And follows the trail of ants.
Oh yeah, she follows it to
Peter's room.
Peter's room, yeah.
And he's completely covered in ants, like they've eaten him alive.
Yeah.
And then she doesn't wake up from nap, but it changes to where it's not the ants anymore. Peter's awake and says, Mom, what are you doing?
He's sitting up already.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's like, Mom.
Yeah, he's like, wake up.
And you think she's snapped out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they have this pretty tense confrontation again.
She's like, he's like, why do you hate me or something?
Yeah.
Why are you afraid of me?
She's like, I never wanted you.
Yeah. She's like,
yeah,
she does that.
Her mouth.
She covers her mouth.
She immediately regrets it. And then at first I was like, oh shit, he must have. At first when that happened, I was like, she must be on a spell or something that like is making her reveal like her truths. But turns out it wasn't.
It's not. And then right after that, they're still arguing, and then all of a sudden it cuts to Peter, and he's like soaking wet.
Yeah.
And then it cuts back to Annie, and she's soaking wet as well. And then all of a sudden you hear a match get struck, and
you see fire go up everywhere.
And then she immediately wakes up. She was just having a nightmare.
It was a dream within a dream.
Yeah,
right?
Inception shit. Yeah.
So then after the nightmare, she gets up and decides that she's going to try the spell or whatever it was, the invocation,
the incantation or whatever.
Yeah, incantation.
She wakes up Steve.
Yeah. And Peter. She's like, "Come on, we gotta try this.
They go to the living room.
First thing I want to talk about is I told Alyssa this immediately when it happened, when Joan gave her the paper, And then does she ask her, like, what are these words? Or, like, what does it say? And she's like, I don't even know.
Because it's in a weird language.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Don't you guys watch anything? You never read something you don't know. And when it has to do with spirits, I'm like, that shit, like, you're conjuring demons. Now, like, haven't you watched, like, an episode of Supernatural?
That's what's so great about horror movies is everyone in a horror movie has never actually seen a horror movie.
Yeah, I was just like, come on, like, what are you doing? Like, be smart.
So they don't know not to fuck with that stuff.
Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, continue. So they go back downstairs.
Well, it's obvious that she has tried this before she wakes everyone up.
Yeah.
Because you see her go into another room when Steve's, asleep. And, the light's on in the room and you can kind of hear some low whispering. Mm-hmm. But then she wakes him up and says, hey, we have to do this. We all have to be together. We all have to I think she says touch fingertips.
Oh, yeah.
Or something. She wants them all to sit. And Steve and Peter are looking at her like you're crazy. Like what is happening?
And I go, Mom snapped.
Yeah.
This is it.
But she's very much like, come on, we all need to do this. We need to do this together. Mm-hmm. And she does the thing with the cup, and Steve is just, please stop this. Like, what are you doing? And they do the thing with the cup, and then the cup starts moving. And then Peter, you can tell, is getting really freaked out by what's happening.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's
crying.
He starts crying because it gets really intense. And, I mean, when I was watching that scene last night, I was thinking, I probably would, too, because this is starting to get really scary.
Yeah, because you can tell he hears, like, something behind him. Sounds. He's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But the way that he delivers those cries are so good. It's so ugly sounding that
like it has to be real. Like that feels real.
It doesn't seem fake to me because it's so ugly, and he does it throughout the film.
Well, we've talked about Toni Collette being good in the movie, but I think Alex Wolff is very good in the film as well. I think he's fantastic in it, and should get a lot of credit for that role too.
Especially being so young. He's a young dude.
His brother is the guy from Death Note.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, they look alike.
Yeah. And he was also in, not the brother, but Alex Wolff was in Patriots Day.
Yeah, he's one of the
terrorists. The
Sarnarev brothers. Yeah. He's in Jumanji.
That's right. We talked about that because she recognized him from Jumanji, and I think Patriot Day too.
He's started on Nickelodeon.
Yeah, I think I told you that too. I'm like, they were in a show. They were like a rock band family or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A bunch of brothers.
Yeah. But I remember that. But and they do the conjuring thing, and they start freaking out. And the dad, Steve, is like, stop, let's stop this right now. And then she's like, no, let's keep going. And then you hear the glass, one of the glass shelves breaks, and he's like, okay, that's it, we're done. Because he's like you said, Peter's just like breaking down, crying, like hysterically.
But then Annie kind of gets possessed, or Charlie kind of speaks through Annie, and then Annie starts talking in Charlie's voice, and I think that's what really puts everything over the top.
Yeah.
And that's when Steve grabs water and just throws it on Annie to kind of break her out of it.
Yeah.
And we're back. Sorry about my dog. He's a little sick right now.
Yeah, it's all right.
But we got it taken care of.
Yes.
So let's jump back into the plot points.
Yes. So Annie just wakes up from her possession. And then what happens after that?
She sees the sketchbook, Charlie's sketchbook.
Oh, that's right.
It's kind of making sketches on its own.
Yeah.
And they're all of Peter, and they kind of have like an X over his face or X over his eyes.
Yeah.
So she wants to burn the book, and she goes to throw the book in the fireplace. But as it starts to burn, Annie's arm catches fire. So she immediately takes the book out and stamps it out.
And this all happens while her husband is asleep on the couch next to her. And he took some sleeping pills or something, right?
Yeah, because they were at each other's throats.
Yeah.
So
he went to go sleep in the living room,
sleep on the couch. But yeah, he pops 2 or 3 pills.
I know he takes 2, and then he puts the bottle down, and he looks at it, and then he gets another one. He's like, whatever, I'll take another one. And he's like, fuck it. But yeah. So we learn that the book is somehow attached to Annie.
Yeah. And then there's, I believe that's where the scene where Peter starts having like weird things happen at school. Mm-hmm. You know, he looks. I guess he hears the little that cluck noise that Charlie would do.
Yeah.
And he's sitting next to like a bookcase or something. It's got like glass.
And that's when he looks over to
panel, and he looks over, and he sees himself looking back at him, but he's smiling,
sinister ass smile,
some evil smile. So he freaks out and he leaves, and then I think that's when Steve calls Annie and says, you know, he's really freaked out. Yeah. You know, what are you doing?
He's like crying in the hallway. Yeah. At school.
You know, this needs to stop.
And then later that night, that's when Peter has the nightmare or the vision of Charlie in the corner of his room, right? Because he hears that sound again, and then he looks up and she's right there at the
in the shadows.
Kind of just against the wall.
Right, she's like in between a dresser and the wall, and he says Charlie or something, and her jaw drops, and then her head turns into a volleyball.
Her head falls off, and as it rolls, turns into the ball.
Which is fucking...
Yeah, and I was like, what the
fuck? It's really scary.
Yeah. And then that's when these hands come up from the headboard from behind his bed and grab him and start holding him down.
Strangling him.
Yeah. And then he starts freaking out, and the mom is... it's when he wakes up, right? And the mom's next to him saying, like, what's going on? Why are you screaming?
She wakes up because she was dreaming at the same time, right? Or she was in a dream state, and so it turns out that she was the one who was choking him, right?
Yeah, I think so, because he accuses her of choking him.
He says, "You were trying to kill me."
Yeah.
Right? And then she's right there. You don't actually see that it was her, but I'm assuming.
Yeah.
With the animosity there.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
And then that's when she kind of decides that she's going to end it. So she goes to find Joan at the apartment, and Joan's not there.
Oh yeah.
But as you see the reverse of that shot where she's knocking on the door, you see Joan's apartment, and there's
like the altar.
There's the altar. There's the triangle symbol cut into the table with a picture of Peter on it.
Yeah.
That
and all these candles.
Yeah, they've obviously hexed him. Mm-hmm. And then Annie goes and starts looking through some books that her mother has, going through her mother's stuff, because she notices that Joan has like the same floor, doormat.
Yeah, like it was like a hand stitched, doormat that she made herself or whatever.
Yeah, and she finds the books and starts looking up spiritualism books and like demon books and everything, and then she finds something that talks about what PAIMON.
Yeah.
Was I don't know if that was a demon. They said he was the king of hell, but or one of the eight kings of hell. Yeah. But she sees that, and she starts getting really freaked out.
And then she goes to the photo book,
and she sees pictures of Joan with her mother.
And then she starts freaking out even more.
Yeah, and then there's like a picture of her mother in some ceremony where it's obvious that she's like the leader of this cult.
Yeah. Fuck.
That's when the movie starts to lose its mind.
That's when I texted you. I'm like, the last 20 minutes of this movie go from 0 to 10 really quick. But yeah, and then we cut to when Peter's at school.
Yeah,
and he's sitting. I don't know, probably during a break time sometime.
Yeah,
and across the street is Joan. Casting a spell.
Yeah, she's yelling at him and saying, "I cast you out."
Yeah.
And he's really freaked out, and it's kind of obvious that no one else sees or hears this.
Yeah.
It's Joan in the beginning, too, with Charlie, right?
Was it Joan?
No.
Joan was a different lady, because she looked slimmer and taller.
She looked older than Joan.
Yeah.
Maybe another a member of the cult.
Yeah. Freaky ass people smiling at everybody.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry to throw off the...
No.
So he gets that spell cast on him or whatever it was, and then he starts walking around in the halls, right? And then that's when he gets that light, that weird light thing. That was a really cool effect too. It was really awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
Kind of like a
representation of kind of Charlie's soul, right? That it follows him around. If you pay attention, you see it